Strategic planning. It's Dr. Mary Cecil. Strategic planning is thinking about where your organization is now and where you want it to be. How can you get there? And your organization might be a team, a department, a school, or your business as a whole. Begin with your mission statement. Review your current mission, your vision, your value statement for your organization or your department or team. Is it still a good representation of the aims and values of the organization? Your strategic plan will point back to your mission, so begin there. Look at your foundation, your mission, and your vision. Keep these in check and make the appropriate investments to pursue the change that you want. Strategic planning is really change management, in that it aims to change the structure, the guidelines, the rules where you operate and where your employees operate. It is a set amount of time for the change. It might be a 1 year, a 3 year, a 5-year plan. And the change must occur at the very core of the organizational culture. It must be embedded permanently. And your message must be constant and consistently reinforced. Achieving this type of permanent change requires commitment from every level of the organization and particularly needs executive support. Processes to transition individuals using methods intended to redirect the use of resources, business processes, money. You want to reshape individuals, teams, departments, or that organization as a whole. So executive support is vital. An executive must be on board to support that effort because we need resources. We need resources to develop the plan as well as execute that plan. And that executive must be held accountable. We need time, human capital, and budgetary money. And time is crucial. We can't get managers and other individuals to take out time from their regular duty to participate in a project if there's not an executive there to follow up, support, and communicate. And of course, we need that budget to let the program proceed. And the higher your executive sponsor is in the organization, the better. That executive sponsor ensures the financial commitment needed to see that project through and can lobby for additional dollars when change orders are made or if a cost overrun might occur. That executive sponsor can set direction and track accomplishment of those business objectives. And that executive sponsor can make or approve decisions and resolve issues. That executive sponsor can manage expectations. And success quite often is a perception of stakeholders. The executive sponsor also signs off when milestones and objectives have been met. They can help solve problems. So who makes up a strategic planning team? This will vary. It varies from organization to organization. It will also vary depending upon if your strategic planning is taking place at the organizational level or at the team level, department level. It is a cross-section of that community. It may include someone from legal, someone from technology, someone from human resources, from communications. It always includes some type of executive sponsor. And that might be the department head, the team leader, the CIO, the CEO. After you have reviewed that mission statement, the value statement, the vision statement, and you have made modifications if necessary, or you have left it alone, you solidified it, you know where you're headed. Now would be a great time to do a SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats for the organization, the department, the team, whatever level you're working at. Analyze what is the strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities, and threats. Strengths. You're looking at the advantages, the capabilities. Do you have a competitive advantage? Do you have a unique selling point? Are your people, your resources, your assets, the experience, the knowledge, the data, are those your strengths? Is the financial reserve your returns? What about your marketing? Do you have innovation? What about your location or your geography? Are those your strengths? Do you have a product, the price, the value, or the quality of a product? What about accreditations or qualifications, certifications? Is it your processes or your systems, your technology, your communications? Are those your strengths? Is it your culture, your attitude, your behavior? Is it your management or your succession planning? What is the strengths of your organization? Then look at the weaknesses. What are the disadvantages to your organization? Do you have any gaps? Is there an issue with your reputation or your presence or reach? Is it your financials? What are your vulnerabilities? Are there deadlines or pressures? Is there cash flow issues? Is there a continuity issue? Are there data issues? Morale, commitment, leadership? Are there personnel concerns? Are there issues with your process or your system? Do you have succession planning issues? What are your weaknesses? Then look at your opportunities. And here, look at external as well as internal factors. What are your competitors doing? What are your competitors' vulnerabilities? What's happening in your market? Are there industry or lifestyle trends, technology developments, innovations, global influences, new markets, vertically or horizontal? Are there target markets, import, export? Are there new markets? Is there a tactic you could apply to a new market? Is there a new product, a new business, new information and research you could do, partnerships, agencies? What about demand trends, season, weather, trends and conditions in the external and external business environment should be included here. And then alternatively, what are your threats? Are there political effects, legislation, regulatory, legal, IT developments? What are the competitors doing? Look at that again in terms of threats. What about market demand, new technology, services, ideas putting pressure upon you? Vital contracts and partners, obstacles that the business is facing, insurmountable weaknesses, employment marketing, what's happening on the HR front that could be a threat to the organization? Again, could it be something for the team or the department? Financial pressures, credit pressures, what about economy? Are there issues regarding the season, the weather? There again, laws and regulations affecting your industry, internal and external threats. So consider future and anticipated future changes. What is happening legislatively, regulatory-wise? So consider a SWOT analysis to help you with your planning. And let's take a look at one particular SWOT analysis. This one is for Tesla to give you an idea of some things you could look for regarding your organization.
Okay, great. In this video, we'll use the SWOT framework to analyze Tesla and organize our thoughts about the company. Hopefully, a 360-degree analysis of its strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats will improve our idea about the firm's future outlook. Tesla was founded in 2003 and is on the mission to become the first successful pure electric vehicle producer in the world. Also, it aims to be one of 2 U.S. auto producers that have not filed for bankruptcy. the other one being Ford. Let's start with the company's strengths. First of all, everyone has heard of Tesla, right? So it definitely has strong brand recognition. Actually, Tesla is the most recognized electric car producer in the world. Quite an advantage with respect to other companies that are about to enter the industry. Moreover, many customers appreciate Tesla's innovator's spirit and the fact that it is a first mover in the automotive industry. Such originality, coupled with aesthetically pleasing design and positive customer experience with the product, justify Tesla's premium pricing and choice of differentiated competitive strategy. Elon Musk, Tesla's notorious CEO and major shareholder, is one of the most famous and appealing businessmen around the world. His ability to tell a story and involve the public is unmatched. By doing this, he wins over many people who actively follow his businesses and will likely become customers. What is very important, such customers can be very loyal if handled correctly, which is priceless in the long run. Tesla is attractive to people because it doesn't simply sell cars. The company sells a story, the story of an organization which is in business with an ideal purpose: to preserve the global environment. Probably this is Tesla's most valuable strength. Along with that, we can mention several other important advantages the company has. Its cars are ahead of the competition in terms of battery range and experience with battery production and recharging. Tesla has put in motion a plan that would make it the biggest battery producer in the world. The company intends to construct several gigafactories, 3 in the US, 1 in Europe, and 1 in Shanghai, resulting in a significant cost advantage against competitors who outsource battery production. Tesla's autopilot feature has been operational for several years now, accumulating more and more data and testing in real-life conditions. In a future where we will increasingly depend on autonomous vehicles, Tesla's experience with autopilot would be extremely valuable. Of course, we also need to mention the company's supercharger network, allowing Tesla owners to charge their vehicles for free in a very fast way when on the road. In a perfect world, this would do. However, we live in a fossil fuel-dominated world, so let's consider Tesla's competitive weaknesses too. Number 1, and quite important, Tesla continued to burn cash in 2017 and 2018. The company has not turned a profit ever since it was founded. That's understandable considering that it grew rapidly with the goal of becoming a true global auto producer. Plenty of investments were made to achieve that. Negative cash flows are a problem, given that Tesla's stock price is under significant pressure from short sellers who believe the company is overvalued. The fact that Tesla isn't a traditional mass-market car producer became obvious in late 2017 and 2018, when the company started producing Model 3. The automatic production line it had constructed didn't function properly, and Tesla was unable to reach its target of 5,000 automobiles per week for about a year. This proves that it can be very hard to make the transition from being a premium sports car producer, delivering several thousand cars per month, to a mass-market company. It is very likely that the company will experience similar challenges when it attempts to realize cost efficiencies and improve margins. Traditional car companies have the advantage that they have been in the business of producing at scale for decades. Tesla is an innovator in its field, but some may feel that Elon Musk's idea to make all of their patents open source was a bit naive and idealistic, endangering the company in the long run, as it wouldn't be able to protect its inventions from imitation. The last weakness we'll add here is Elon Musk's divided attention. The fact that Tesla has a CEO who is responsible for 4 separate billion-dollar entities is a bit disturbing. First, is he going to be able to sustain such workloads in the long run? And second, how much of Elon Musk's time is spent working on Tesla? Besides strengths and weaknesses, we should also consider future opportunities too, right? let's go ahead and list some possible developments that could help the company succeed in the long run. The electric car market is the future of transportation. Most people agree on that. How fast will the transition to electric vehicles be? Most people disagree on that. Nobody knows. Some experts believe it will happen over the next 10 years. Others, especially the ones involved with petrol refineries, claim it would take at least 40 years. One thing is certain, though. For Tesla, the faster the transition to electric vehicles, the better. Currently, the company is well positioned to win a significant market share of people switching to electric vehicles. In a favorable scenario, this could be great for Tesla, as very few of the other automobile producers are ready to compete in the electric vehicles market at full scale. So that's definitely one opportunity. Another one is that Tesla expanded its product range, remember? Because of their merger with SolarCity, the company now offers batteries, power walls, and other equipment related to production and storage of renewable energy. A rising demand for renewable energy could mean more business for Tesla. Furthermore, Tesla's huge industrial batteries will become a very interesting product line in the event the renewable energy market continues to grow at this pace. If it speeds up even further, the demand for storage of electricity produced by renewables will rise sharply. Of course, there are some very enticing opportunities ahead of the company in terms of economies of scale, increasing volumes of production, and hence lowering the cost of production. Think Model 3, for example. Economies of scope. Producing different types of vehicles will probably be more efficient when the range of products Tesla offers expands, and R&D costs can be shared between different models. Another exciting opportunity is factory automation. Elon Musk shared that, at some point, the production hell the company experienced was caused by too much automation, and the level of automation of its Model 3 production line had to be reduced. That was a painful experience. But now that Tesla has the scar tissue and has learned a valuable lesson, it will probably try to build up on what was attempted before, removing flaws from the automation process. This could result in improved production volumes and lower costs, especially in terms of production personnel. Okay, great. One of the weaknesses we mentioned was that Elon Musk divides his time between several companies. Well, this can be a problem, but it also can be highly beneficial in the right circumstances. Elon Musk is involved with firms like SpaceX, The Boring Company, neurotechnology firm Neuralink, and nonprofit organization OpenAI. At some point, it is highly likely that synergies between these organizations could help Tesla improve its competitive position and know-how, providing a valuable advantage against traditional auto producers. The last piece of our SWOT analysis are the threats ahead of the company. As we mentioned before, the gradual transition to electric vehicles can happen in 10, but it can also happen in 40 or more years in a favorable scenario. Slower transition is a significant threat because it strips Tesla from its first-mover advantage and puts it in a position to operate in a market that is not growing fast enough. Such a scenario isn't very likely, given that most research indicates the electric vehicles market is about to experience tremendous growth over the next several years. Of course, the entry of traditional producers is a significant threat, as we discussed. Firms like BMW, Volkswagen, and Daimler will undoubtedly enter the market. As Tesla continues to release new models, there is no guarantee production difficulties would not appear again. This is another threat. Finally, one has to consider tax incentives for electric vehicles that are allowed in the US and around the world. At the moment, governments subsidize electric vehicles through tax deductions and other similar incentives. In the US, for example, automakers are allowed to sell up to 200,000 subsidized vehicles at the maximum incentive rate of $7,500 per vehicle. Then incentives are halved to $3,750 per vehicle, and so on. Although people from the automotive industry have asked for these incentives to be kept intact, Even after reaching the 200,000 threshold, U.S. politicians seem reluctant to do that. So, discontinuing incentives for electric cars is another threat for an electric producer like Tesla. Okay, perfect. I believe this wraps up our extensive SWOT analysis, in which we looked at Tesla's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities.
At this point, the strategic team will have gathered a great deal of information. This will need to be analyzed and distilled into actionable strategies. The process is going to depend upon the team and the expertise and input of the specialized knowledge the team will bring to the table. Team members will have to make decisions and establish priorities. So you will gather the information from the strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities and threats, and analyze the information, and analyzing it within the framework of the mission statement as well as any value statement. And don't prolong the strategic plan process. The longer it takes, the more factors can change. You want a strategic plan that's durable enough to withstand changes in technology, legislation, and other key influencing factors, but it needs to stay relevant. When the parts and places start changing and require reconsideration, the plan's going to become dated. So set deadlines, set milestones, and set deadlines. Take all of your analysis and the SWOT and set priorities. Then go through the hard process of prioritizing your strategies and aligning them to your organizational goals and objectives. Tie the strategies to your overall organizational goals and business objectives. Develop smaller, actionable plans to support your organizational goals and objectives. Create smaller plans and policies to support your strategic plan. It might include plans and policies related to external legislation and business competition and internal changes to management and structure. Then create new driving programs to support those business goals and objectives. You have to get things moving and get people motivated. Launching new projects within the strategic planning umbrella can help get people involved. So you might need a new program related to discovering laws and regulations. Perhaps a committee is needed to discover the best practices of your competitors. Then draft your strategic plan and get input from other stakeholders. Once you have some of your pieces of your plan drafted and your team is in agreement that it's aligned with your organizational goals, then take that plan to more individuals within the organization. Get their input. Try to get some more consensus, keep refining your plan, and then it's time to finalize it. But it is a living and breathing document. It is a work in process, and it is going to continue to change, continue revisiting it and updating it to be sure that it stays in step with those changing internal and external factors. You will need to get buy-in, and you will need to get sign-off from that executive sponsor. And then your last step is to start executing the plan. Your plan will most likely include some type of priorities, some must-dos, some should-dos, some like-to-dos. Each department, organization has different ways of setting priorities and different ways of coding priorities. Then you will have projects, different types of way of describing your projects. You always want to make someone responsible. Always have some type of department or name of an individual who is the contact person for that particular project. Have some type of cost if there's a way to measure that cost, and set some type of deadline or milestone associated with projects. And remember, that plan is a living, breathing, changing plan, and have periodic auditing and review of the plan to reveal areas that will need to be adjusted and revised. You want your plan to be relevant and effective.